Hi there, my name's Peter Powell. I'm the CEO of the Welsh Dee Trust. The Welsh Dee Trust is quite a small charity that's based in Llangollen but covers the entire Dee all the way from its source all the way down to the estuary here by Chester. So there are actually two River Dees in the United Kingdom. There's the one in Scotland up by Aberdeen, the quite famous one by Balmoral, and the one here which flows from Wales to England, and that's ultimately why we're called the Welsh Dee Trust, to try and differentiate us from the Dee Trust, which is based in Scotland. So at Welsh Dee Trust, we really want to focus on the action on the ground and getting the actual things in the river that need to happen happening. We do this through sort of three main delivery programs: our Restoring River Habitat program, which focuses very much on restoring trees and natural processes to the river, creating many of those niches and many of the habitats that the wildlife needs to thrive. We work with landowners and farmers to tackle agricultural pollution, which is part of the problem within the river. We do this by advice and support to many businesses, where we work together with the farms in a way that benefits them, so that they can produce good British food, but also helps benefit the river and keeps nutrients and pollution out of the river and on the farms where it's needed. And then our sort of other third delivery is we're quite a small charity at Welsh Dee Trust, so we know the many hundreds, maybe even thousands of small pollution incidents which are making their way into the river. We cannot tackle them alone, so we really need the support of others, citizen scientists and volunteers, to be the eyes and ears across the river, finding those pollution incidents, and then we will support them to help tackle that. We do that by providing training for our citizen scientists. We do volunteer events, and it's really those people that help us really make a huge difference across the wide area of the River Dee. So our aim is really to get the change to happen on the ground that it needs to happen. So in the next few minutes, we're going to go for a walk up the river. We're going to look at some of the challenges that the River Dee faces, but also some of the actions that we can take to really improve the health of the river and reverse its decline in wildlife. So we're stood here at Chester Weir, which is the very lowest of the many weirs which are all along the River Dee. These weirs are really a man-made structure, and they're a real challenge to the river, and particularly to the migratory fish of the river. It breaks up their migratory routes, means that they expend a lot of energy trying to get past them, and in some cases they can't even get past them at all. Chester Weir is a barrier in that way, and salmon will struggle to get over it. There are salmon steps which have been built here, and there is a sort of bypass channel which goes through the Chester fish trap, which makes it easier for fish here than at other weirs, but it is a challenge for the river. One of the things at Welsh Dee Trust we do is try to remove as many of these barriers to fish migration and migratory species as we can, opening up the river, opening up access to good habitats upstream so that the fish can reach their spawning sites more easily and be more successful in their spawning. So pollution is a real challenge faced by the river, even in beautiful places like this in the middle of Chester, where the river should be its absolute cleanest, where there's people swimming, people rowing, many pleasure boats. Really what should be the epitome of a clean river within the UK. So one of the really big problems faced by the river is pollution, particularly nutrient pollution and sediment pollution. This comes from a wide variety of sources. Approximately 45% of the pollution comes from agriculture, and about 45% comes from sewage and sewers. The sewage is broken down into sort of three main sources. There's the treated effluent, which comes from the sewage treatment works, which still has some of the nasties in it, because even though it's treated, you can't pull out all of the damaging pollutants. There's septic tanks in more rural areas which are sometimes faulty and damaged, and they cause pollution. And the other one, which is the really nasty one, is the sewer overflows. So this is where the sewage treatment works can't cope with the sheer amount of water and sewage that's entered into the treatment plant, and it's actually just overflows straight into the river. This is raw sewage with all of the nasties involved in it. The real solution to this is upgrading and improving the size of the sewage treatment works, but the other element is keeping clean water out of the sewage treatment system. Many of the sewers that we've built in the Victorian periods and since then, and particularly in Chester, are combined sewers. This means that they not only take the sewage from houses, but they take the clean water and the rainwater and put it into the sewage treatment works. In a completely working system, that means that the sewage treatment works is much more likely to get overwhelmed by storms and heavy rainfalls, thunderstorms, and that's when the overflow should be working. Unfortunately, they are working more often than they should be, and this is causing quite significant damage, as well as public health risks to the people who use the River Dee. The solution really is disconnecting our clean water from our sewage system. That involves quite heavy investment, but can be done by all of us and by councils, local town planners, looking to do more sustainable drainage where rainwater, which is clean and healthy, should be diverted away from the sewage systems and enters the river cleanly. So we've come upstream now, the sun's come out and we're here at the meadows, which is just on the edges of Chester. This is a really important part of the River Dee. The ecology and the wildlife of the river and its floodplain are really interconnected to what's going on within the river itself. When we have really heavy rainstorms, when we have thunderstorms and get floods, the floodplain will go underwater and become a big part of the river. So this area is really important to the ecology and its wildlife. Unfortunately, even the meadows itself has been heavily modified by man. In quite a few areas, the flood banks have been built, which stops the water from coming out of the river onto the floodplain, keeps the water in the river. This puts more pressure and more power into the water as it goes through the river and really disrupts the wildlife that's trying to live in the river, but also disrupts the wildlife on the floodplain, which needs those inundations and the floods, and they're so important to many of the species that live on these floodplain meadows. So hopefully through this video you've learned a little bit about the challenges faced by the River Dee, but also the work we're doing at Welsh Dee Trust to try and tackle and improve the river. We really think we can reverse those declines in the health of the river and create a flourishing ecosystem that's full of clean water, full of wildlife, and can be enjoyed by the people who live and visit the area. If you want to find out more about Welsh Dee Trust, please visit us on our website, follow us on social media. If you really want to help, and we're really looking for people to help us in our work to help reverse declines, there's many places for people to volunteer, come with us, join us as citizen scientists to help in water quality monitoring, or to help fundraise and donate money to our work.